Semi-finals, topic 1, 4-pointer podcast. Ken's on the middle. I got Heather, I got Brownie. We're going to go straight into it because I'm dreading this topic and it has to be talked about though, and that is the current disaster that is the Brisbane Broncos following their 58-point, I'm so glad it didn't hit 60 thanks to a couple of missed goals, 58-point loss to Parramatta at their beautiful new home in Bankwest Stadium in the western part of Sydney. Yeah, lads, look, we all watched the game together.
We did.
We all saw the sad pit of sadness that I slowly, divulged into. You guys were lucky enough to leave me. I was lucky enough that you guys left me alone for the most part.
Yeah, you don't kick him in when he's out fucking.
No. And there was no reprieve. It was 80 minutes.
It was relentless. Yeah.
It was impressively consistent.
Yeah.
It was like every
the
4
first
minutes.
few we were putting shots in, and then we went, "Oh, it's kind of sad."
Just stop it! He's already dead.
Didn't they score all the way up to full time?
All the way up to full time. I'm just so grateful, even though it is a brand new record. It's the biggest margin the Broncos have ever been beaten by. It is the biggest margin in finals history.
It could have been massive too if they kicked some goals. It must have gone to 70 almost, I reckon.
I think they missed 3 goals, right?
Oh, only 3?
I think it was 3. It was 3 consecutive or something like that, which might have made it feel like more. 3, and I'm just so grateful we didn't hit the 60 mark. There's something about hitting that even 60 would have been rubbish.
Goose egg.
So yeah, and the fact that there's that little that goose egg is that little extra bit. The fact that she couldn't cross their line.
And they didn't even look.
They
close.
didn't even relent at all for you to get a soft try with the sort of athletic talent we have.
Rough.
So that's only the tip of the iceberg, I'm afraid, guys. So much has happened in the past 72 hours regarding this football club. Paul White got the Broncos media team together so he could directly address the public, apologise for what there was, admitting that it wasn't good enough, that he has to shoulder some of the responsibility. It was very, very honest, and it was a long apology. I can respect that, but at the same time, that also reeks of a man who feels like he's at the end of his rope.
Yeah.
And I think I've got more to say, but I'm feeling a little paralysed right now, so I've got to pass off to you guys. Surely you guys have thoughts. This is something you guys have been waiting for a long time.
Well, you want to talk about apologies. Anthony Seibold has already been accused of not apologising enough.
Yeah.
He kind of accepted some of the responsibility, but not enough of the responsibility. And I've got to be honest, having seen his post-game press conference, I've got to kind of agree with that a little bit.
Well, he went after the players hard in this one.
He went after the players hard, and look, he was well within his rights to do that, but he should have shouldered a little bit more of that burden. I mean, he is the coach, and you got to think, if you're getting spanked 58-0 in a finals game, you've made the finals, albeit you could argue that the Broncos limped in.
I don't think it was a limp in at all. I mean,
they got him with a losing record.
No, let me say, it was definitely a limp in. There's no argument.
It was definitely a
about
limp
it
in. But at the end of the day, they did play finals football. They were there to compete. And you could argue that maybe he didn't have his players prepared well enough. You would have to say 100% they weren't prepared well enough to get spanked 58-0. They didn't look like they were in the contest. So,
if a coach comes out and starts throwing his players under the bus, though, that to me says that he had everything planned out and they just didn't follow, and that's where you lose by 58 points. If it was 38-8 or something like that, you could go, well, we kind of followed the plan, then we lost our way, and they got on top of us.
Or
This seemed like the players just showed up and almost just refused to play. This was the kind of performance where a team's trying to say, oh, we don't respect the coach, or there's some sort of
or even
disconnect.
not maybe not maliciously but they're just we don't care enough.
Yeah, and when I read it the way he said it, I was just like, he's putting players on notice. He's going to say, he's basically coming out saying, next year you're not going to get away with this shit. I've had a year of it. I've put up with it to this point. This is the result of how we're doing it. When we do it your way, this is the way it goes. We're going to change things, and we're going to, it sounds like he's going to gut half the roster anyway. So.
Which he already has.
Which he should, yeah.
Yeah.
But some big names ready to go, I think.
But look, that performance did reek of disinterest from the players, and he was well within his rights to say what he did about the players, really, I guess, kind of questioning their commitment. I think as a fan, I feel sorry for all Broncos fans to have to put up with that. And I said it to mates that are Broncos fans, I mean, for me, Brisbane's always been a team that I've loved to hate, but also admired for being the powerhouse club that they are, being a professional standard for how rugby league teams should be run in this country. you need to have a Brisbane Broncos team that's always competing for that top 4, and I can say that as a fan of a different team. So to see them go out there and put that kind of performance out, in a way, it's kind of disrespectful to the whole competition.
And all respect to Parramatta, you weren't running into a red hot Roosters team. You were running into a Parramatta who's a very good team and starting to get better, but they're not the best team in the comp that's just running over everyone. This was a team that just sort of showed up ready to play.
Let's not forget, 4 weeks ago, this Broncos team beat them, albeit at Suncorp, but still far from the idea of a 58-0 loss. They won 17-16 or whatever.
This was something else is going on behind the scenes, it sounds like, with this.
Nothing was going on, which is the other concern.
Well, there was plenty of max bets in the poker room.
Oh. But not to take anything away from Parramatta, I mean, their performance was almost as close to a perfect clinical performance as you can get. I mean, they got a little bit of a piggyback in that Brisbane just really didn't meet them and weren't up to the task. Well, yeah. But they were unrelenting. Yeah, and they executed well.
And because they didn't really meet a whole lot in return, that allowed so many half chances to turn into full chances. You think about the Sevo try that bounced off his shoulder.
Yeah.
It looked like a well-drilled NRL team playing just an okay QRL team. There's just a class difference in the two sides. And it just Parramatta showed up to play. They played their way, and everything worked because the Broncos just weren't interested at all. So,
well, part of the reason why that disinterest or inability to be interested has come to the forefront when we've had some confirmed sightings, or eyewitnesses confirmed is the proper term there, of up to 6 Broncos players caught at a Harpoon Harry's Hotel.
Great place.
From all understandings, near Oxford Street in Sydney till late hours of Saturday night. Some saying 4, some saying 5, others saying 3. Well beyond the time they really should have been sorted.
Having a slap.
Have AM.
I heard 11 PM and David Fafita stuck around behind.
Yeah.
To
there we go.
And then I heard Alfie Langer was dancing on tables. Wendell Saylor got in the mix.
That's popular.
That's standard.
Every week, though.
Yeah. To be fair, in this most recent article that I from I think it was George Clark, they say most people left at 11 p.m. and then David Fafita was the one specifically named to be staying a little bit later. Then they say some dropped in again after they were coming back from the shops.
From the shops at 3 a.m.
I don't know. I'm speculating at the times here. The only confirmed time that has been reported is at least 11 p.m., which is relatively forgivable. That's pretty forgivable in my eyes. 11 p.m.
It's not a good look for the team, I don't know.
But optics are a thing. When you're a team that already people haven't really respected your performance for this year, you've got to understand the optics that come with your actions there, and that's just been a really forgetful moment. What breaks my heart here is it's not just, I mean, obviously in this in particular example, it is David Fafita, a young guy who's still trying to learn what it means to be a pro, but then you've got other guys named in there like Matt Gillett, Andrew McCulloch, and Corey Oates, guys who were supposed to be and then let's not forget Anthony Milford, the guy who's getting paid $800K to not only show off his skill set, but to be able to show off some leadership. And from what I understand, and this could be completely, fabricated, but he didn't even know what time the game was the next day.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I think you've got to can you not? And it reflects really badly on Anthony Sewell. I think. Can you not just go to the movies that night and say, "Come, boys, we'll go to the movies, team night. We'll get to bed at 10:30," and potentially, that's what he planned, and they just didn't go. But some of that's got to be on the coach, or at least it looks very bad on the coach.
I'm well aware that a rugby league program, you don't need to be that team that's in bed at 8 p.m. the night before a.m. You can go. I wouldn't have been upset. Okay, maybe I would have been upset they had some beers, but if you're out having a slap, but come on, guys, get back at 10 p.m. Fuck around at the hotel. Laugh it up, even till midnight, 1 o'clock, whatever. Get your sleep, and then they go there. It's just, you understand, you've been under the scrutiny of an entire city hard, and it is hard. Brisbane is the Philadelphia of Australian sporting, as in that, we have been blessed with a lot of success, and therefore we demand a standard to be set, and this just doesn't match that standard. At least not while you're winning. I mean,
that's it. And you were. It's not that you were playing the last game of the season the next day and you were already out, and it was just whatever.
This is a different story. If this is round 17 and nothing's was sorted, but this is the finals, man, with elimination final.
You got a lot of kids at home watching your team, hoping that they're going to win, and then you come out and do that.
That kind of body language says to me that they were expecting to be hitting Mad Monday the following day, so they just thought, you know what, let's start the bender early. Let's get things started early, and that's
they slept and tapped.
I mean,
slept in, slept out.
I wonder if there's an aspect to it where, with everything that's happened with the club, all the scrutiny that they've been under over the past 6 or so months, they've gone, you know what, we're emotionally drained now. We just want this to be over and done with. We know we're not going to go deep in the finals, so let's just end it here. Like, they weren't. I'm not suggesting they were going out there wanting to lose, but they just didn't care enough to.
Well, they probably felt at this point, we're going to cop it when we win. We cop it when we win. At this point, we cop it, like, when we win, it's not good enough according to the public. When we lose, it's not good enough according to the public. So.
Yeah.
I think you've got to have a mindset though. You've got to go out there to win every game, and if you don't,
that's what a championship mindset is. Absolutely.
Yeah. So. I don't care. If you're not going out there saying, I think we can beat them, especially a team like Parramatta, you're not going out there beating Manly or the Roosters or expected to. Go out there and give 100% and see where you're at. You just got flogged.
Well, look at what Manly did. Yeah. Against all odds.
Without
losing some of their key players. People wrote them off completely, and they came out and they were just comprehensive against the Sharks, and I mean, that performance says to me, it's put me in the mindset of thinking, well, I don't want to see Canberra play Manly because I don't know what the outcome of that game is going to be. You've got a team there with so much self-belief that they're like, you know what, people are writing us off, we're going to go out there and play to win. Brisbane should have had that same mindset. Instead, they went out and they were just also rans, and it's
not
embarrassing.
Only that, but there's players in that team playing for their spot next year.
Yeah,
and high name, like big name players. And they just didn't care. They just didn't. Like, so what is your next club? Like, let's say you get released. You're an Andrew McCulloch, and you get released. What's your sales pitch to the next guy, to the next team? And say, oh, no, mate, that was different. I'm going to give 100% for you. Like, you were out the night before on the pokies. You've got smashed. So, and people are starting, you're getting older.
It's because you combine that behaviour with getting smashed.
Yeah.
No one's talking about it if you guys lose 24-0.
Yeah,
maybe you do actually.
I think these things are a little bit more correlated than everyone has been seeing to this point, and it's probably just come out at the end.
Well, let's talk about some of the other stuff. Like, before this all came out, there was already speculation coming out of the club that Boyd was going to lose his captaincy. And that even Paul White was going to be asked to step down. Yeah. CEO Paul White. So none of that's been confirmed because this is now, taking the turn for the worse. But then you've got instances now that after this, Milford's officially been given his final warning that he's on watch and they've got to get rid of him. McCulloch apparently, again, this is all speculation. Apparently he's been asked will be asked to move on. And they're trying the same with Boyd, but Boyd's naturally digging in his heels and saying, no, you guys owe me $800K. I actually respect that. Don't like it, but I respect it.
They're in a ridiculously bad spot for a Brisbane Broncos team. Like, heads should roll in the front office, if I'm being honest. I don't know if Wayne Bennett was making all the recruitment moves or whoever's responsible for their current situation with contracts and recruitment. It's been a mess.
Here's a question. If Wayne Bennett stuck around, is Darius playing as poorly as he is?
No.
So at that point, maybe $800K would have been worth it.
I think his skills have diminished quite a bit. He should have retired probably this year or last. But I think he still would have played with some effort. There's zero effort in his play this year.
I was listening to Shane Webke talk last night about the whole Brisbane saga and where they're at with things. And he was asked, this was on Triple M, he was asked, when he knew when it was time for him to hang up the boots. And he went out a premiership winner. So, I mean, that's the ideal way to go out.
What up?
But he said when he was doing running drills, having to run to the 22 and run back, where he was finding shortcuts in the drill, he's like he couldn't find that extra step, so he'd try and cut corners, and then because he obviously Webber's had like such a high standard that he set for front rowers, for a good decade. He said at that point, that's when he knew that he had to hang up the boots, and he didn't condemn Darius Boyd at all, because I'm sure they've got like some kind of decent relationship, if they've got any relationship at all.
Webke's last retirement year was Darius' first year.
Yeah. And he said, look, you've really got to kind of be honest with yourself and go, hey, maybe it's time for me to go. The problem with Darius Boyd is that, let's be honest, he's not going to have a media career after this. No. He's probably going to have to get a normal job. You
that
know,
pays 80 grand a year, maybe.
well, exactly.
You know,
so
let's
so
be
that
honest.
so that $1.6 million that he's due to get over the next 2 years, I can understand why he'd want to dig in his heels.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he needs to. And look, people talk about, oh well, yeah, I love this ultimatum. It's the money or it's your legacy. I think Darius Boyd probably doesn't care. He's like, I've won 2 premierships.
I've won plenty of Origins.
I've won plenty of
played
Origins.
Australia.
I play, yeah, exactly.
Captain the Broncos, almost to a captain to a grand final.
Yeah.
Almost to a premiership. You know, one drop or a penalty away from a premiership.
Yeah.
Here's the other thing as well. Am I right in saying this?
Was he captain then, or was it Sam Thaiday?
No, it was him.
Oh yeah.
Believe it or not, he replaced Thade. Am I right in saying this? Like, even as a Brisbane supporter, I feel like I can see this, but you guys should be able to confirm this. Even if this didn't happen, from anyone outside of Brisbane and maybe St George, not many people think that highly of him. Maybe people will be like, yeah, right, he did well. But no one seems to give him credit for his Origin career because he played it the whole time outside Greg Inglis.
No.
Everyone thinks he's a numpty from how he acted during his, depressive years in Newcastle. Has he got that much more of a legacy to save? To him, he's like, my legacy is already at diminishing returns here. I need to fight for that $800K that I'm not going to be able to achieve easily after footy. That's why I say I don't like it, but I respect it. As it's like if my mate was telling me the same situation, I'd be backing him to keep the 800.
Yeah, that's a family choice. That's he's setting himself up for the future because he knows there's not much.
My issue with him is that he's still digging in to do certain things like play 5'8" and stuff like that. I'm saying you're going to get your money, jump on the wing where we know you can contribute the most from, or at least do the least damage and prevent people. Jump on the wing. You can still be effective out there. We saw how damaging you are outside someone like Greg Inglis. Put him outside Tony Staggs, who I'm not going to compare him to Inglis, but is another big physical freak who gets one-on-ones and can, pass the ball out. He can still be helpful to this team from that position, and it's not a complete waste. Sorry.
I don't think Darius Boyd has the kind of power around the club to swing his, axe around anyway. So if he's making demands about, well, I only want to play 5'8", cool, go back to Queensland, come play 5'8". Like, if Anthony Seibold wants to have any kind of control over this team and get the respect of the rest of the players, he has to just basically give him an ultimatum like that. You're playing on the wing. If you want to up in arms and scream and shout, we'll put you back.
Here's something that's been speculated for 2020. With the return of Jack Bird, who again is someone who apparently might be umming and ahhing because of his injury history.
He was in great form before he got injured too.
People are saying to fix this issue, they're going to send Milf back to 5'8", and this is obviously building around the idea of Tom Dearden being back and healthy and them giving him the official reins. They're going to move Darius to left centre, and they're going to put Jack Bird at fullback. Thoughts on that?
Jack Bird's, he's on $1 million, isn't he? Like, at least.
He's on a fair bit of money too. He's like just shy of it, I think.
You guys have a ton of mediocre players on big money, eh? Like that's
or players that did not reach the potential they were.
Yeah, and Jack Bird seems to be an injury case, a bit like William Zillman, I guess, but he's got the talent, just doesn't.
But at fullback, he hasn't played there since like under 19s.
They're going to have the same problem they had this season. To be honest, I think that Anthony Seibold did Darius Boyd a favour by saying, "Hey, let's try you at 5'8". I feel like that was a second chance. That was like, without saying it, you've been terrible at fullback, so we're going to try something different. That's a second chance. It's funny, Darius Boyd coming out saying, "Oh, I was just learning the positional, this year and finding my feet." He's just so passive in his comments, just like,
and that's
really?
What rubs people the wrong way.
He's trolling at this point. Like the stuff he's saying, he's trolling. Like it's not even.
No, it is. It's ridiculous
because he's coming out saying, "Look, I'm playing next year because of the money." And I'm going to tell you this, but he's not even making an effort to make it seem like he cares.
No,
yeah, no,
and he's played 5'8" before too. Let's be honest. But if that kind of backline shuffle there, it's just going to be the same issue that they've had this year. And look, I think Jack Bird. You guys are lucky to have him. He wasn't great when he first came to the Broncos, but he found form. Then he got injured, which kind of sucked.
But even then, we weren't quite sure where the hell we'll play him. It looks like he was finding form at centre, and then you're like, jeez.
He was looking good. Look, I think you don't move Tony Staggs. That's a no-brainer. I would have Jack Bird in the centres, and I think until you find a stopgap measure, although I really like the idea of Jermaine Osako at fullback as an outsider, then maybe you keep Milford at fullback until you find, and give him a pre-season training back there, because let's be honest, he hasn't played fullback full-time for quite a while. Give him a chance.
There's been worse fullbacks on the court.
There's been worse fullbacks.
They're in trouble next year. I'll be
Oh,
honest.
yeah.
Like they need to gut that team. I'd even be saying to Jack Bird, look, if you can find another club,
By all means.
off you go, because they need that money to put into other areas.
Well, here's another thing, and someone raised a point. I think it might have been. I was reading an article, and it might have been Barry Morant, or actually it might have been Nathan Brown on 360 or something. He was saying that the logic they're going behind of trying to build them or put all their money in their forward pack is not going to win you a comp, and it is.
Look at Canberra. Canberra did that a few years ago. The minute we changed our tune, boom.
Yeah.
And he goes, you may want to keep all this talent, and I get it. It's enterprising talent, but it's not going to win you a comp. It's too young, and you need halves. And I believe they tried this year to prove that, and it didn't work. So you got to wonder after this shenanigan, these sort of shenanigans, are the Broncos now and saying maybe we should just let Fafita go and look to spend that money elsewhere? The thing is, they're caught up with wanting to sign all these youngsters, but still having this money tied up in Milford, in Boyd, and in Jack Bird. Yeah. So they've literally got a rock and a hard place here. Of like, it wouldn't be a bad idea to throw money at these guys if you didn't have about almost $2.1 million in those three players who are not performing to that financial amount.
And the minute that comes off the books, you guys will overnight be a better team because you'll be able to go and get whoever you need. And those younger guys will probably, if it's the end of next year, those younger guys will have another season on their belt. But man, next year's going to be another hurt blocker season. I just can't see.
I don't know if I can see Seabold getting out of that because the Brisbane supporter base, they're impatient because of the history we've had.
Well, and you made the 8 this year too, so if you guys are running 10th or 12th, it's going to be really
there are also rounds from this year that are going to be much better next year, right? So you got to expect that a team like the Tigers are going to be better off. A team which I think deserved to play finals football. It came down to that last game.
Didn't happen,
Newcastle now.
Yeah, Newcastle have got to be better, especially with that roster. St George has to be better. Cowboys have got to be better. Sharks have got to be a lot more dangerous come final
That's
time.
A lot of teams, yeah.
So I just don't see where Brisbane fits into that mix unless they can jag someone like a Brodie Croft. The problem they've got with that, though, is that there's all this noise that, look, Jerome Hughes, he had some good plays in that game against Canberra, but he's not a natural halfback, and he's being asked to do a lot. He's been asked to fill a position that he really hasn't played, at that first grade level. I can't see that being sustained, and I can see if the Storm bow out of the finals as a result of having him at halfback. Have we got the team list for? Has that been announced yet? For this week?
For this week, it is Team List Tuesday. So
they should be there.
It should be coming out.
If they lose with Jerome Hughes at halfback, they're not necessarily going to blame him, but they're going to have to go, well, Brodie Croft is our halfback, and that means that he's off the table for Brisbane. You'd think.
Jerome Hughes.
Well, there you go. So. If they don't beat Parramatta, I think they'll... Well, but then again, he might have an off-season playing at halfback because, not having Pappenhausen in that starting lineup seems really silly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I
think he's...
And then if they don't jag at Brodie Croft, if Brisbane can't sign a guy like that, who are they signing?
How much money do they have in the cap? Because it's not like they're losing anyone this year of great.
No.
Well, they have to shed a Fafita or someone like that. You can't have all the aces.
Fafita's on no money. Like, he's on his rookie contract, basically.
But he's going to get an upgrade.
He's off contract coming November.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's not like if he walks, you're going to, there's 400 grand.
Yeah, no, he doesn't lose money.
Yeah, so you're not freeing up space by letting him walk.
You're gaining future space.
Yeah,
and look, they've got Matt Lodge signed up. They got Payne Haas there. That is a good starting front row. And I know Fafita's playing in the back row. I see him probably... I don't know, I feel he's going to be an interchangeable kind of forward. You can't have all the aces. You can't have all of them. There are only so many to go around, and they don't have the cap space.
Well, it's just one of those things. You've got the you've got the cattle, but you've got nothing to steer them at the moment. Yeah. They are investing so much in Tom Dearden. I feel sorry for the young man. Yeah. At 19 years old, he's going to be expected to be the saviour of this franchise because, from all intents and purposes, by keeping, admittedly, they did have Sean O'Sullivan there for a bit, but that's also while Turpin was injured/suspended. They put Turpin at halfback, which means they were happy to just go for a stopgap for ages, and they kept Boyd at 5'8", with again just another stopgap. So that means to me says that they were just resting on their laurels, waiting for Tom Dearden to inherit this team. That is so much for a 19-year-old kid to take it to take off of of a big club like Brisbane.
Yeah.
Well, any of those young halves that have been experimented with this year for Brisbane, I think another issue that can't be understated for Brisbane. We're talking about the halves. Obviously, imperative they get themselves some quality halves. But every good side in this competition has a backline general, and they've got a halves general, and they've got a forward general. Brisbane doesn't have any of those.
Well, their forwards, it's a new guy each week.
Yeah.
Their halves interchangeable.
They don't,
each week.
and they don't have a fullback.
And their fullback is also interchangeable. It's a lot of good pieces with no real structure to it.
No.
And
Give them the next few weeks, see what happens, see what shakes out of the tree. Because I think if they can get rid of McCulloch and a few other big contracts, I think McCulloch could be on pretty decent money. They might have a little bit of space to manoeuvre if they can get out of those.
I mean, Brody Croft makes up. I still think Jimmy Maloney would have been a great addition.
Maloney, you guys are crazy for the fact that you didn't go after Maloney. I know you didn't have the money.
He brings a winning culture.
Yeah, you could have found a way to fit him in. I think.
Even if we can snap him back from next year, depending on what his form's like.
That bloke has gone, and whatever your opinion of him, I don't have the greatest opinion of him as a person, but every club he's gone to, he's won it.
Yeah, and he obviously brings a winning attitude.
Yeah,
he's
you can't
a coach's nightmare with his decision making sometimes.
Yeah,
but that's his thing. He wears it with pride, and it produces.
Every team he's been at, I think he's walked into most clubs and won a premiership there.
Almost he started with the Warriors.
Well, he started with Melbourne. He's out of the Melbourne system, and then he went to the Warriors. When he left Melbourne, he was kind of like, I don't know, he was like a depth player.
Yeah,
and then he went to the Warriors and he became a superstar. Yeah. And he's a product of that system.
I still think there's some fantastic options in the Q Cup. They need to at least explore, give them a train and trial over the off-season, see what happens. You'd be surprised how many of the players actually get picked up off of that train and trial, even if it's not at the start of the season.
I just think you guys need, like we just said, leadership. Because the coach isn't getting to them, so he needs a patsy inside. He needs an inside man to go, look, guys, we're going to fucking do this. Sia Soliolo, I think, is the kind of guy at Canberra. Like, that's the kind of guy they need to come in and be like, I'll be the coach on the field. You know what I mean? Doesn't need to play every minute. Can play 60 minutes a game, but when he's on the field, he's got the respect of everyone there, and he's basically, giving them what for.
And a heart and soul player.
Yeah. I think they just don't have that one player at the moment. And Darius Boyd could have possibly been that with his resume and everything else. Just doesn't seem interested whatsoever.
Again, to finish off this topic, but again, this was in the same article I was reading by Barry Miranda saying that it was ludicrous to give Seibold a 5-year contract. Now, I've been in the defence of Seibold for a while, saying that you just can't judge a coach in his first year. Yeah. And I've defended that decision for a while, but then I've been thinking a lot lately. That's effectively what it goes both ways. That's effectively what the Broncos did when they gave him a 5-year contract. They judged him off 1 year with South Sydney. So maybe it is called for this criticism of giving him such a long contract there. But at the same time, you want to invite someone in, you want to say, this is your system, do what you do. They've kind of living in two worlds because it's not completely a system.
And they were trying to get him to break his contract, so they had to offer him a little bit more. Like, I love when it goes bad for the Broncos when they try and break the rules to their advantage, whether it's signing a player outside of contract, like when he's still on contract with the player, whatever. It's your own fault. You're right. Like, you offered him 5 years. What's he going to do? Say no? I think if you're judging him at this part of his tenure, then you're a moron because he's only gotten rid of guys he doesn't want, and he's still stuck like that. He's inherited a really ridiculously bad situation, and I think if you sat down with him this time last year and said, look, we want you to come coach. Here's our situation. Here's the cap. We've got these guys on, for another 2 or 3 years at big money. But after that, it frees up. He would have gone, I'll get sacked in the first 2 years if I've got to handle these guys. You're going to have to offer me 5 at least. Because then you sack me after 3, but you pay me out the last 2. Yeah. Because he needs time to get rid of the dud contracts that he's inherited. It's probably one of the worst situations in the NRL for just really mediocre players on big money.
It's kind of weird though, because it was also a bit of a case of another man's treasure is another man's trash. Because some people would have said Jimmy the Jet was playing great footy until he came under Seibold.
He's not going to win your games though.
Well, I think that was the problem. He would win your games, but it would also lose your games.
There's a reason they were willing to allow Bennett leave, because I think that they realised that team was middling, and Wayne Bennett was getting the best out of some mediocre players, but that was about all they were going to get, so they weren't going to challenge for a championship for that, a premiership. So
I don't have an issue with him moving on, James Roberts. I've always felt that James Roberts must have some kind of attitude problem.
Well, have a look at.
Yeah,
He's a bit of a brain explosion away from
exactly.
him, you know?
And you look at it on the field. A guy, look, I don't know what he's like as a trainer, but just can't. All the ability in the world he could go on to play for Australia, but he never will because he doesn't have the right mindset, doesn't have the right attitude, he doesn't have that level of professionalism that he should have.
Well, and you're not going to win a premiership off the back of your centre play. So,
no. And he's going to stink up. He's going to have some kind of drama that's going to stink up the club, and it's going to upset the players. It's going to upset the momentum. You're a coach. You're there to coach a football team, but you're also there to be a kind of like. It's unsaid that you're a kind of life coach too. You've got to be a little bit more than that. And with a guy like that, you're going to be spending too much time trying to fix him and not coaching a team. So I don't have any issues with that and some of the other calls that he's made. I agree. He's inherited a really bad situation.
I think you've got to give him at least next year to just try and clear out as much deadwood as he can and then allow him to bring guys in. And then if he's failing after year 3, have a chat. But, man, you can't judge him.
Final topic, final thought on this, which comes from what some of you mentioned on our halftime group chat we did, a little Facebook Live in the middle of the Broncos-Para game this weekend past, is the idea of trades and how that could affect it. How much would life be easier right now if trading was a thing in the NRL?
Yeah,
you could trade off someone.
Yeah, you could get rid of Bird tomorrow, like with a trade.
With a trade,
you could get rid of Ashley McCulloch with a trade. There'll be a team out there taking him on.
Well, even like Fafita right now, if you can't keep him, you don't have to lose all that value because you could trade off. Yes, he's in his last contract year. Trade him off. Although I don't know if November 1 is when it officially ends, so I don't know when they'll do it. They'll probably have to do it before June 30. But still, you could have got value out of that.
Yeah.
A lot of these players in their final years or their final year or years, you'd be able to get some value out of that for future value. But of course, the NRL doesn't have a system based around that. So it's a pretty. I mean, could you do something where like you can sort of increase your cap by trading value? No, that'd be crazy, right?
I mean, I think. Yeah, I think trades could help out because there are teams that have a lot of really good players at certain positions and not others that have a need, and you might be able to just find that right trade partner. You might be able to have a homegrown, player trade exception or something like that. So if that player's only ever played at your team and he's on 800 and you want to keep 200 grand on the books of you to make the maths work for the salary cap, you can pay that extra 200 above the cap. I don't know. Because it's dead money. It's not like you're paying him to leave. You're not, overpaying for someone to come in. That could work, but Broncos would benefit immensely from a trade situation right now.
Because there's no way you can. This could be a whole other topic itself. We won't let it be, but there's nothing that the current teams can do with trading bad situations for future value. It's not available in the NRL. We didn't even mention this little monster.
We didn't even mention it.
You're only wearing a 92 jersey with the 92 Broncos premiership winning Broncos on there?
Yeah, actually, I'm looking to get rid of this because I'm not a Broncos fan. How I obtained this when I was a child. My grandfather actually used to play with Wayne Bennett years ago, and he bought this for me, got this signed for me. Can't sell it. Put it on eBay. No one wants to buy it, but it's got a lot of signatures on it.
Starting price, $500.
Starting price, $500.
Or a cuddle.
Or $500. If you're interested, leave a comment.
No. Seriously though, you've got Karen Walters on there. You got Hancock, Louis Kahn. You got Alfie Langer. Wayne Bennetts there. Steve Renouf. This is worth it. Starting price $700.
$700. $800 starting price.
No, seriously, they're sending your best off. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.